G'day everybody, it's Josh Cohen here. I'm a pianist currently based in Melbourne in Australia. How you going? For those of you that don't know me, I released my debut band-approved songbook entitled Radiohead for solo piano through Faber Music in London last year. And here is a tutorial on how to play Daydreaming, which is the first track from that songbook. And this tutorial is designed for anyone that's never really played the piano before. If you have played the piano before and know how to read sheet music, go buy my book. It's catered towards an intermediate to advanced level. They're not easy tracks, but this one in particular is a really good one to start off with, and I have taught it to a lot of my students that have just started playing the piano. So we're going to get stuck straight into it, and yeah. Here we go. So first and foremost, a couple basics. Finger numbers on the piano. Our thumbs are always our first fingers and it goes out to our pinkies being our fifth fingers. So some students think it might be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the left hand. That's not the case. Thumbs are always going to be your first fingers. Next thing is the white notes. It's really important to know what all the white notes are. The way that it works on the piano is we use letters A through to G. So the lowest note on most pianos is an A, and it climbs all the way up to a G and then starts again on an A. So one way of learning all those white notes is you've got to make sure that you use the black notes as a reference. So for example, I'm quite a visual person, and I find when I'm teaching students that between the two black keys, that's always going to be a D. So across the entire piano, they're all your Ds. Just make sure you use those black notes as a reference. This note here is middle C. It's a really good one to learn. Just try to remember that one. If you've got a piano, usually there might be some writing on the piano around there, or there's this like lock situation. That's kind of a good reference, but it's always good to use middle C. I will be referencing that a lot throughout this tutorial. There's also a great website that we use for our students at my music school. It's called musictheory.net. And on there's like an exercise called, I think it's keyboard note identification. And you can customize it so you can just learn maybe a few white keys at a time. It's really handy. They've got an app as well called Tenuto. I think it's only for iOS. I'm not sure if it's for Android at the moment, but something like that is a really good place to start and will help you just learn all those white notes. So if you don't know those white notes at this stage, I'd recommend going away, learning it. It'll take about 15 minutes and come back and continue the tutorial from here. Next little thing is the black notes, which is not really used in this piece that much. There's a couple of references, but just to give you some basic theory about how it works. We've got sharps and flats, and sharps is when you go to the right and flats is when you go to the left. So this note here is an F, this note here is an F sharp. G, G sharp, A sharp. Flats go the opposite side, so here's a B, that's a B flat, always goes to the left. You can move to a black or a white note. It usually moves to a black note, but there are instances later on that you'll find where a sharp may move from a white note to a white note, for example an E going to an E sharp. Not important, not relevant at the moment for a beginner, but that can happen. Another couple of things about technique when you're playing the piano, you want to try to keep your fingers really curved on the keys, so try to avoid having sort of flat fingers. And you also don't want to have your fingers collapsing if you can help it. So what that means is when I'm playing a note, if I sort of rotate my finger, it's got a nice little curve there. It's not collapsing like that. So most beginners, when they're playing the piano, their fingers will collapse because they don't have strong fingers. That's just an important technique to sort of be aware of early on throughout the process. Another thing as well that's just good to keep in mind is you do want to try to keep your fingers resting on the keys as much as you possibly can. Often when students play a note, if they play their thumb, for example, all the other fingers fly up. So you want to just try to keep your fingers in contact with the keys as much as possible. For most beginners, that's going to be pretty much impossible, but just that's something that we'll be aiming for later down the track. Another thing to think about is when you've got your fingers on the piano, usually you want to try to allocate one finger to each key. So right now my thumb is on an F, so I might call that, let's say, an F position, but I've got all 5 fingers just put on every single key. It does sometimes stretch beyond that, but generally as as a rule of thumb, pardon the pun, you want to try to keep your fingers resting on every single note of the keyboard in a row. Cool. Let's get stuck into it. All right, so with Daydreaming, it's got a little bit of an interesting rhythmic concept called a polyrhythm, and that's kind of what is one of the components of this tune that makes it stand out. And the way that it works is your right hand plays 3 notes while your left hand plays 2 notes over the exact same amount of time. So one thing you could do is sort of tap it on your lap just to get the rhythm to start off with, and this is how the rhythm goes. It's going to be with both hands together at the same time. So it'll be like this: together, right, left, right, together, right, left, right, together, right, left, right. So my right hand at the moment is doing 3, while my left hand is doing 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Left hand, 1, 2, 1, 2. Right hand, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Left hand, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so that's just a good rhythm to practice. Another way of counting it might be, you can go like this: 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Or nice cup of tea. Nice cup of tea. Nice cup of tea. I find together, right, left, right, probably the easiest. Together, right, left, right. That rhythm is really, really important. That's how you'll be able to play the first section of Daydreaming with the introduction. Just to practice that rhythm, what you could do is you get your pinky, your 5th finger, on the A above middle C, and then I'm going to get my other pinky on an F, which is an octave and a half below middle C. An octave is 8 notes, so if you ever hear me use that, that's what it means. So an octave and a half is roughly around that low F there. So I've got an A in the right hand and then a pinky on the low F down there in the left hand, and I'll do that exact same rhythm. So 1, 2, and 3. Together, right, left, right. Together, right, left, right. I'm going to slow it down. Together, right, left, right. Together, right, left, right. Together, right, left, right. Together, right, left, right. Okay, so practice that rhythm. Once you get that rhythm comfortable, you can sort of move on to this next section. Alrighty, so left hand with this tune for the introduction, it does this little situation here where you've got your pinky. We're going to start actually on an A. Second finger is going to be on an E, and then your thumb's going to be on the A, an octave higher than the pinky. So that shape there is really, really, really common, and in Daydreaming, that's pretty much the entire tune in the left hand is going to be either that shape there or an octave with your pinky and your thumb playing the same note, just an octave apart. So that's a really, really important shape to just get comfortable with. An exercise that you might want to do just to try to solidify that or strengthen that with your left hand, because it's not a common shape, is you might potentially play, let's say, here I've got C, G, and C. I'm playing it all together. And what you could do is you could take that shape up by 1 and just work your way up the piano. Most students, when they start doing an exercise like that, they'll play the first one, and then when they get to the next one, they'll then individually find each note. You don't want to try to do that. You want to try to put a little bit of tension in your wrist, not too much, but enough that you can then essentially just slide all of your fingers across and then play the next shape like that. So it doesn't matter where my hand is right now, I've sort of got my hand locked into that shape so that I can play those shapes. There's quite a lot of movement with that left hand, so you need to practice strengthening that shape. It might feel a little bit unusual and tense because it's not a standard position that your hands or fingers are used to, but that's kind of the shape that you need to practice with that. So maybe try that as an exercise to get comfortable with that. It's a little bit tricky, but that will help you. Maybe doing a scale like that. Cool, so here's how it works with Daydreaming. We're just actually going to learn the shapes to start off with, and then we're going to start to do that polyrhythm and combine the two. So the first shape in the left hand is going to be A, E, and an A. Okay, remember that this is middle C, so it's 2 notes below with that thumb, and then an octave below with the other A, and then that E there. My right hand is going to be in a D position, so my thumb's going to be on the D right above middle C, and I'm going to allocate one finger to each one of those keys. Usually speaking, I think for this introduction, it's primarily just going to be going your first, second, and fifth fingers that's going to be used. I don't think the third and the fourth finger come into play at all for the introduction. So it's primarily going to be your first finger, your second finger, and your pinky playing. Don't put your fingers down there, you always want to have them resting above if you can. So here's the first shape that you need to practice. Okay, it's a really nice chord, some sort of A minor situation, and you've just got to lock that in. Okay, so it's 1, 2, and 5 in the right hand, A, E, and A in the left hand. The next shape, your right hand comes down by 1, so take all those notes just down by 1 position to a C position. I've still got 1, 2, 5 there. My left hand goes down by 2 positions. So I'm going to go down to an F position down here, or sort of an extended F position. And I'm going to play that together as one chord. So I'll do that again. I've got A, E, A in my left hand, D, E, A in my right hand. My right hand's going to come down by 1 position, my left hand's going to go down by 2. Next bar is super easy. The left hand just goes down by 1 position and the right hand stays the same. After there, both hands go up by 1 position. All right, so we'll just go through that one more time. So we start on A, E, A in the left hand, D, E, A in the right hand. So together. Okay, left hand's going to go down by 2 positions, right hand down by 1. Left hand goes down by 1 position, keep the right hand the same, and then both hands go up by 1 position. That's the first 4 bars. It then repeats it again. So it goes back up to the A, does it again. Same thing with the left hand going down by 2 positions, right hand goes down by 1 position. The left hand does the same thing again, where it goes down by 1, right hand stays the same. So it's sort of just repeating itself again. Instead of both hands going up here, it does something a little bit different, where both hands go down instead. So my left hand is going to go from that E, B, E down to D, A, D. So I've got dad in my left hand. My right hand goes down by 1 position. There's a little variation here where my thumb, which is currently resting on a B, it actually goes to a B flat. Now remember, flats go to the left. So this thumb needs to go onto that black note. One thing that's important here in this instance is I need to move my right hand further towards the piano so that my thumb can comfortably reach that B flat and I'm not twisting my wrist. It's a very common error that a lot of students make when they're starting out, is they try to twist their wrist to hit that black note. But what you want to do is just go a little bit further up. Students get a bit afraid of sort of hitting the white keys around this area. It's totally fine. As a quick example, when I'm playing a chord like this, my third finger is literally hitting the F at the very top of the key. I could actually use it here. That would feel a lot more comfortable. I've taken the piano lid off so I can sort of reach a little bit further in this instance. So there's nothing wrong with a lot of students think they have to always hit the white keys at the very end here. Yeah, it's always good to sort of get a bit further deeper in it so you don't have to be turning your wrist because that'll put, again, sort of extra strain on your wrist, which you don't want. So when you get into this shape here, put your hand closer towards the piano, get your thumb resting on that B flat. I've got dad in my left hand, B flat, C, and F. All right, so I'll just go from that second part of the section. Okay, so this is kind of where it repeats again. So I've got the first shape here. Okay, this is on bar number 5, for example. Remember, my left hand goes down by 2 positions. My right hand goes down by 1. Left hand goes down by 1 position. Same chord in the right hand. And this is where both hands go down instead of going up. So I'm going to go down to dad in the left hand, right hand goes down by 1 position, but then I'm going to slide my right hand closer towards the piano and play those notes there. So I've got D, A, D, B flat, C, and an F. Remember, this is middle C as the reference. After there, my left hand comes up to a G octave with the D in the middle, and my thumb in the right hand is going to go to a B natural, and here I'm going to slide my hand back towards myself and then play this shape here. Okay, so I've got G, D, and G in my left hand, and my right hand is doing B, C, and F. After here, it's super easy. The pinky moves up by 1 position to a G. Same notes though, otherwise. It then goes back to the F with the pinky, and then there's a little bit of an outro to lead you into the verse, which goes like this. You're going to get yourself in a C position. The left hand's going to stay in the same position. So I've got my thumb on middle C, one finger allocated towards each key, and the line goes like this. So it's going to be pinky to the thumb. Go under with your thumb on the F. Okay, I'll do that one more time. And that's going to tee us up for the first verse, which we'll come to later on. All right, so we're going to go from the very beginning. Here's how it goes. So I've got A, A in the left hand. I've got D, E, and A in the right hand. So this is bar number 1. The left hand's going to go down by 2 positions. Right hand's going to go down by 1. The next bar, for bar 3, my left hand's going to go down by 1 position. And then for bar 4, both hands go up by 1 position. Great. Now, remember that whole idea repeats itself again. So my left hand's going to come back up to A, E, A. Same thing with my right hand going down by 2 positions, my left hand going down by 2 positions, my right hand going down by 1. That's bar number 6. Bar number 7, the left hand goes down by 1, same thing that we were doing before. And here, instead of both hands going up, if you remember, both hands are going to go down, but I'm going to slide my thumb onto that B flat. And I'm going to push my hand forward towards the piano. So I'm really comfortable there, and I've got a nice straight hand like that. After this guy here, left hand's going to come up to G position, my thumb's going to come to B natural, and I'm going to slide my hand back towards myself. The pinky's going to go up to the G. Pinky's going to go back down to the F in the right hand. And then we're going to do this little line that we just did before. Under with the thumb. Cool, and that's going to tee us up for the first verse. All right, so here's how it goes. Remember that polyrhythm that we were doing before with the together, right, left, right, together, right, left, right. So here's how it works. My right hand is going to be doing this rhythm here. These notes, it's going to be A, D, and E. So you go pinky to the thumb to the second finger. So 5, 1, 2. Okay, so it does that cycle 4 times in every bar. And what happens in the left hand, excuse me, is we're going to be playing that left hand at the exact same time that you play the pinky. So here's how the first bar is going to sound. There's a small component we have to add on afterwards, but this is the first section, or first way of doing it. It's going to be like this. So just play that left hand every time you play your pinky in the right hand. Okay, so that's the first part. What happens, and this is kind of the trickiest part of this polyrhythm, you can look that up on Wikipedia and do some research, there's plenty of information online about it. It's called the 3/2 polyrhythm for those of you playing at home. And the way that it works is that left hand, that second left hand chord is going to have to come in halfway between the thumb and the second finger. So this is where the together, right, left, right comes in. So I'll do it really, really slowly to start off with. Together, right, left, right. Together, right, left, right. Or 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Together, right, left, right. Together, right, left, right. A bit faster. Together, right, left, right. Together, right, left, right. Together, right, left, right. Or 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Nice cup of tea. Nice cup of tea. Nice cup of tea. Okay? That's the polyrhythm. You got to practice that. If you can't do it, start tapping it on your lap, on your knees. It's really good exercise just to do it before trying to get the actual notes correct, but that's how you do it. So together, right, left, right. Together, right, left, right. Okay, so what happens for every bar, you're going to do those groups of 3 notes 4 times for every bar. Here's how it sounds. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. That's the first bar. What happens now, as you know, the left hand goes down by 2 positions. to F, C, F, right hand goes down by 1 position, do the exact same rhythm. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Left hand down by 1 position here. 1, right hand stays the same. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1. We can do that 4 times in the right hand. Both hands go up by 1 position here. F, C, F in the left hand. Back to my D position. 2 and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Remember, my left hand's going to go up by 2 positions coming up now. This is bar 5. Do it 4 times through that cycle. Left hand down by 2, right hand down by 1. So my right hand's in that C position. Remember, my left hand's going to go down by 1 position here. Keep the right hand the same. And here, instead of both hands going up, my left hand and my right hand are both going to go down, and I'm going to get my thumb to that B flat. So dad in the left hand, slide your hand up so your thumb can comfortably reach that B flat. 2 and 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. So we do that 4 times. Left hand comes up to that G position. My thumb then comes back to the B natural here, so not the B flat, and my hand's a bit closer towards my body. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Here's where it's a little bit tricky, is instead of doing it 4 times, it only does it twice, and then does it twice with that G, and then twice with the F. So I'll do this bar again. It's 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Stretch up. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Pinky back on the F. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. And then this is that little outro of the intro that we did before. 1, 3. Under with your thumb. Cool. So we're just going to go through that one more time from the very beginning. I'm not going to stop this time, I'm just going to go straight through. A bit faster. So 4 times. Left hand down by 2, right hand down by 1. Left hand down by 1. Both hands up by 1 position. So 4 of those. Left hand comes back up by 2. Left hand down by 2, right hand down by 1. Left hand down by 1 position. 4 of those. Both hands are going to go down. Thumbs on B flat in the right hand. Slide up. Left hand's coming up to a G and the B natural in the right hand. 2 of those with the pinky onto the G now. Back to the F twice. And then a little line. Cool. All right, that's how the introduction goes. There's a little addendum that you can add on if you want. That's how the beginning of the tune starts. It's sort of a fade-in on the original track. And the original track starts fading in on the exact same right-hand position, but the left hand actually starts on F, C, and F. So it would sound like this. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Do that 4 times, and then up to the A, and you're at the very beginning of where we just started. And that's where it goes. So you can do that little introduction if you want. It's just doing 1 bar of F, C, F in the left hand. Another thing that you can do if you like, once you've got that conquered, is to put a little bit of pedal in if you do have a pedal. I'm not going to go into too much pedal technique today, but it does make a bit of a difference if you hold down that right pedal and basically change at the very beginning of every bar. The way that the technique works, I'm just going to like graze over the top of this, is if you hold down that right sustain pedal, it elongates the notes a bit more. And basically you just want to change the pedal when you change each bar. Now the way the technique works is you need to let go of the pedal. So press the pedal down when you play through the riff. Most students, when they're trying a little bit of pedal, they let go of the pedal and then they press the pedal back down. So they'll let go of the pedal and they'll press it back down at the same time as they play the new notes. What's tricky, and the way to practice the pedal, is if you hold down the pedal. So my right foot is currently pressing down on the sustain pedal on the right hand side. I've got a note sustaining. The way to practice the pedal is when I play my new note, you need to let go of the pedal. You don't press it down. So when I'm going to play my E, I'll just play the note again. When I play this E, I'm going to let go of the pedal like this. The pedal has been, I've let go of the pedal at the exact same time as I pressed it, and then I very quickly press my foot back down on the pedal. You can actually see the pedal working over here. So I can't be bothered changing the camera angle so you can see it, and it's not really that important for a beginner, but that's kind of how that technique works. We'll cover it in a later tutorial. Cool, I'm going to play it one more time. I'm going to use the sustain pedal now and play it a little bit faster, and you can just see how it goes, and I might, we'll just see how we go. So here we go, here's the introduction. Cool, there you guys go. That's how you play the introduction of Daydreaming. Thanks for tuning in. We're going to do this in a few other sections. It's quite complicated, but I do think I can explain it to you all. Hope you guys are doing well out there. Stay safe, stay at home, and good luck tackling this introduction. And I'll see you guys for the next tutorial. Cheers.